kudos and hats off to Alan. Once again, he's not on the call at the moment. He's going to be mad for me to share in this. He's kind of like, she likes to try to stay under the radar. I think he's just afraid people are going to try to catch up with him. But he's going. He said engrave my name on the trophy already for the year. We had a call on Friday evening or Friday afternoon with a group, a gentleman out of Jacksonville, and it was interesting because he actually connected with an agent. I want to go back to this and explain to you guys the importance of working with real estate agents. He originally connected with a real estate agent, and that real estate agent learned about the Beyond Living program and shared it with one of their investors, his investors. And this gentleman, Herbert, who's the investor, loved what we were doing. They met with Karen, who's one of our elite team members, one on our leadership team, one of our facilitators, and had a great call. I got on to answer and wrap up some final questions that he had, and they were all good questions. And they were great questions, actually. And one of them was, he's asking about proof points and do we have any examples? And I explained to him that, no, this is newer. The only real owners I'm involved in is the owners. We have owners that are in the program, but we're doing short-term rental till we build out some of the jobs in those areas. And so it didn't matter to him. I said, look, when you get in, you either get in early or you get on the wait list. That's how this is going to work, right? It's not right for everybody now. You can wait, but he had no issues waiting. So Alan, we got to send him the contract. I'm sending it out today. Alan's going to have another contract on a home in Jacksonville, and we already have the jobs lined up there, so we should see that taken off pretty quick. So I thought that was pretty exciting. And there was 2 real lessons out of this, guys. Maybe 3, but for sure 2 that I wanted to bring up. Number 1, here comes Alan on the call right now. Hang on, I'm going to let him in so he can hear this. Hey, Alan, how you doing?
Word, what's up?
Hey, great timing. I was just telling people about your conversation, this successful conversation we had with Herbert and Lucien, and I know you don't like me to share a lot of your things. You like to stay under the radar so no one can catch you. But I think this is important for the group. I was just about to talk about a couple of the key learnings. First of all, I want you guys to recognize this, that Alan, when you reached out, and correct me if I'm wrong, Alan, but you originally reached out to the gentleman's name is Lucien, who's the real estate agent, right?
Correct.
It's through the agent. I know a lot of times we're worried about what agents are going to say and if they're not going to give us the time of day or whatever else, but agents can become very powerful because they'll connect us into the owners that own the property. So it was through Lucien that we got Herbert, and Lucien, I think if I'm not mistaken, Alan says he wants to bring more investors to the table. Is that right?
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So real estate agents are your friends, guys. I mean, I know not always, don't get me wrong. I won't go into that path now, but real estate agents are great partners because if they can just understand what we're doing and shift their mindset, this is a big opening for them because how many investors now are going to want to work with them and thank them for bringing in a brand new business model that they haven't seen before. So real estate.
And I might add, realtors are better friends than lawyers.
That is true. Yeah, I'll say that's all. Unless the lawyer's on your side, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. I love having good attorneys on my side, but I hate having conversations with attorneys. They oftentimes don't go to the way you want.
Well, they'll break a deal. They can break a deal.
Absolutely. So that was the first thing out of this I wanted to share with you guys. So not only are we continuing to add properties to the portfolio, so great job there, Alan. There's another thing that Alan did that was really cool story, and this fired me up. Alan got asked to speak at an event, and I don't remember the timing of all this. I might have talked to, I don't know if I shared this on Friday or not, but Alan got invited to speak at a RIA group. And Mark, and those that were here a year ago, last July, remember I laid out the things to do. I know Mark was part of the group at the time. Maybe Suzanne, it might have been just after you. But I talked about one of the strategies was to get out and speak at RIA groups. That's how you're going to build relationships. Do you remember that, Mark?
Yeah, I'm going to one this Thursday. And yeah, Alan's inspired me to get back to him.
Yeah. So Alan got invited to speak at a RIA group. So he speaks at this. By the way, Alan actually got through a connection is how he even connected up with the leader of this RIA group. Alan had never been to this RIA group before, but he got asked to speak there just because the leader of this RIA group heard about Beyond Living. Said, wow. And then he called him up and said, hey, we got an open spot. Can you come speak at our event? Right? So for all you guys that are in real estate trying to figure out how do I stand out and get invited to speak at a RIA group. And Alan, let me ask this question. How many real estate investment association groups have you spoken for in the past? Now, how many speaking engagements, but at specifically real estate investment associations?
Well, that was absolutely the very first speaking engagement I was ever asked to speak at. So 0.
Okay, so he go even beyond that. He's never been asked to speak at any speaking engagement. But I was going at RIA groups because if you've been at RIA groups, you know sometimes, Mark, you know this, it could be like months before you even get on a calendar. There's so many people wanting to speak at RIA groups. Here's somebody who's never spoken at a RIA group before, gets invited to go speak at a RIA group. Why? Because the content, the power of what Beyond Living has is so different and so unique that people want to share it. This goes back to those of you that know my USP continuum, right? Remember the USP continuum? Mark knows it very well. He's been hearing this for like 4 or 5 years with me or more, who knows? But maybe 6, it's probably 6 years probably now, Mark. We're in 2023. I can't even know, maybe even 7.
Over 5 years. I think it was February of 18.
Yeah, well, there you go. So for many years, Mark's heard this over and over, but there's this USP continuum, and then the more unique you are, the more that you differentiate, the more you're going to attract people to want to work with you, to invest with you, to partner with you, ask you to speak, etc. So Alan goes and speaks at this group, and this is so cool. Alan texted me this weekend. I don't remember what day it was. He got a call. He got a call from somebody. This guy who called him, his friend was at the event that Alan spoke at and heard all about Beyond Living. And Alan, you spoke in Savannah, Georgia area. Is that right?
Yeah, so I spoke at an event, and then that was Tuesday, and a gentleman by the name of Keith was there, ironically. So this guy Keith who was there, I didn't get to meet him. I was like, people were like swarmed around me at the end, asking me all these questions, and he didn't approach me. So I don't even remember who it was, but this guy Keith told a friend of his, like the next day at work, about what he had heard. And this guy has Karen has the pics. It's beautiful home that they've been using for professional short-term rentals, and wants to bring it on as a Beyond Living model. It's in Charleston, South Carolina. And they called me, and we're just like, when you get the call, it's a totally different world than when you call them. There's 2 different things. Like if you're making the call, you need something from them. But if they're calling you, now they need something from you. And man, it was just like the first one I got, the very first one. And it just gives me this level of confidence now. I mean, I already had it because of the mission. Like the mission, it's all about the mission. Like that's the unique quality. I didn't get to speak there because I wouldn't have, if I had said, hey man, we work with people and do short-term rentals, they wouldn't have asked me to speak. They wouldn't have been, that's not unique. It's not special. It's not impactful. But when you start telling them the Beyond Living model, it's like, well, I never heard of that before. Well, there you go.
Well, did you guys catch that? And one of my favorite, well, first of all, the confidence was awesome. And I think, Alan, you even heard Mark just say a minute ago, you've inspired Mark to go out and get to these RIA groups as well. But did you hear what happened? He had people reaching out to him. You guys know this. I talk all the time about becoming a destination. Becoming a destination. Your world of business changes when you become a destination. People start calling you. They start reaching out to you. And next thing you know, you can't even keep up with the business. Now, that's not going to be overnight, but it could be faster than sometimes you can handle. And that's kind of what we're seeing right now with Beyond Living. So I was pretty fired up by this. So this weekend, I was kind of thinking about all the things that are happening. And I put together a chart of where I'm going to share with you where Beyond Living is currently and what's kind of taking place. But I just wanted you guys to walk out of this experience that Alan did in his testimony of what he did last week or what happened last week to kind of share with you again, a reminder that real estate agents can be very powerful to help you grow. At the same time, don't be afraid if the agents are unresponsive. We are going to go around them and skip trades and go right to the owner because our job is to help owners that are not selling. Okay. So we will, but we'll always give that agent or typically always give that agent the first opportunity to work with us. You're either going to work with us or against us. It's one way or the other, right? And our mission is to help people. And so ultimately their client is important to us. So whether they're interested or not, we want to make sure their client knows. So that's number one. Number two, the importance of getting out there and speaking at groups and just sharing with people. Let them know what you do. Let them know. And three, Beyond Living is truly a USP. That stands for Unique Selling Proposition. USP. It's part of the USP Continuum. You could go Google that online. If you type USP Continuum, you'll probably find my YouTube video where I break this down. I do this in my events all the time. I talk about the USP Continuum. I prove in that training why it's so important. And Alan's proving it right here that Beyond Living, I already know it. You guys probably, most of you already know it, is truly attracts people. And so that's super exciting. So anyway, thank you, Alan, for your efforts and for sharing kind of what you did so other people can kind of, replicate what you've got going on.
I'm speaking again tonight, actually, at 6 o'clock in front of a group of nonprofit leaders that are all in the veteran community. I'm speaking at a VFW, and there's going to be between 20 and 25 leaders from other nonprofits that work in the homeless space for veterans.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And for those of you that don't know, Alan already knows because I think some of his people have already registered, but somebody's been sending them through. Your Beyond Living mobile app, okay, guys, your Beyond Living mobile app actually has on it a link to the Q&A page, for nonprofits to register to join Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. We're going to be doing a Q&A where any nonprofit that has an interest in learning how they can grow their own mission, how they can make impact in the community, we're going to answer those on there. It's very similar to last Thursday. So I'm doing these several times. I don't have next week's planned out yet because my trip to Salt Lake City got rescheduled this week because of the winter storm that's blazing through there. So as a result, I'm trying to figure out exactly what my schedule looks like. Once I nail down my exact times and travel, I'm gonna we'll put together a time next week that I'll be doing the Q&A session again. But it'll be on that same page. But for right now, Wednesday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. That's 1 p.m. Eastern. Nonprofits, they need to go online and register. Don't share the link. Don't share our event Zoom link on the website. Like on Facebook or anything. I want people to register first. This way, one, we don't get random people in trying to blast in and jump in. We had that happen on a call that Silveris had, and links get out there and people come in to hack them. So if we have everybody's email, then we know who came on, and then you guys also know who's registered because they'll register, they'll get a link, and it'll be there. So I saw a question come in. What can we share socially? Us creating something from Canva approved by Beyond Living? Yeah, I mean, as far as the nonprofits, absolutely. You can share, you could create something. We're working on a bunch of messaging. In fact, we're halfway through a new video scribe for the junk peer-to-peer and junk removal. We're going to be creating another one for realtors. We're rolling out my goal, Barb and team, is that we're actually going to have that realtor campaign out to help with your clients with any junk removal, extra items, moving items, etc. So that's coming out just later hopefully by the end of the week. But nonprofits, we have the YouTube videos. You could certainly share. Those are definitely approved. But you can also, if you've got something that you can drop quickly, I'm happy to approve it, Barb, directly. So you can make sure you put your link on there with your affiliate code, so you know who's registered. Normally, Mark, they will be a different day. In fact, it was supposed to be next Monday was my next day, Mark, but was the next training actually, because remember last week it was Friday, it was Tuesday, Friday, and then this Wednesday. Those were the first 3 sessions. So I'm trying to rotate the days and even the times, Mark. So it's gonna scatter. The only thing is, like I said, I haven't figured out my travel yet for next week. So once I nail that down, so probably either Monday or Tuesday will be the next session of next week. But don't quote me on that. I can't quote which day yet. And then Friday, my guess is next Friday will be another one. So it'll probably be either Monday or Tuesday, and then next Friday. And there'll be varying times. Let me see if there's other questions. Oh, so I want to share with you guys. This is the picture of Beyond Living at the moment. Jeff, I kind of put a green star out there for Indianapolis after our last conversation. So I know we got to talk. Is it your existing home? Do we add another home? I don't know what it looks like yet, but you'll see the blue are the areas where we already have homes identified, ready to go. And then you'll see we've got 10 markets. There's 22 homes that we're ready to turn on across the different area from California out to Florida. So we've got kind of the west, the north, and the south kind of going there. That little green star right there in Indianapolis, that's the placeholder for helping to support We Care, Jeff. You're on the map. So we need to connect, and we'll figure out what that looks like and how we want to do it. But I'm fired up for it. And I just got off the phone. Some of you that were on last Thursday's Q&A call got a chance to meet Harold Looney. He actually is a real estate investor. He's got his own project. He does shared housing out in New York, and he's also looking at getting some in Chicago. He's in Chicago right now, but he actually wants to help build us out in New York, and he's even got connections in Champaign. And again, as long as we have all pieces of the triangle figured out, we're willing to open up in an area. We just need to have the right resources and support systems, right? So he's got some properties. We're working with the Ali Forney Center for which has more than enough qualified candidates. I bet we've got several dozen probably if once we work get things rolling with them. And then he's also got some connections in New York around the job site as well. But he really thought that the marketing things that we're doing could be huge there. We are adding, just so you guys know, a little side note. We are going to be adding. I'm suspecting we're going to be adding video scribes to the work that are explainer videos, basically, that our residents can do in the marketing world. So we're going to add that to the list as well. So it's not just courses and portals. We're actually going to use video scribes because you could actually use those to create courses for people. So I could take your content and create a course in a video scribe for people that don't have the time to do a video or don't want to be on camera, don't want to do things like that. They could still create these different assets. So anyway, so more to come on that, but it was just funny that we were talking, and he was just thinking about how powerful and how much demand that he sees there in New York with all the businesses that he's connected into, that the marketing services could be huge. And Jeff, that went back to what we were talking about. Like, you get businesses that need marketing support. That could happen anywhere, even though you're north of 45 plus hour north of center of Indy, right?
Yeah. And I wanted to tell you, we have a newer resident. She's been there in the recovery home about a month now. She has a degree in computer-aided drafting.
Oh, really?
And so, I know that's different, but it's still, she has the aptitude, she has the computer skills to be able to do that with no problem. So I was pretty excited about that.
Yeah, no, you hit it right on the head. It doesn't matter what they do. She's not afraid of a computer, and I'm sure she can learn that. She can learn this stuff, right?
Yeah.
What we are also doing, by the way, inside our homes, we're working right now on the trainings to help. We're actually launching this. We came up with almost I'll call it a self-evolving ecosystem for residents. So watch how this works. And we're testing this out right here in Vegas with some of our residents. Here's how it works. And some of it might take some pre-funding, like we might not be able to do it unless we have some extra funds within Beyond Living, or maybe we have somebody who has a home who's okay to do a month or so without revenue coming in while we house somebody. But Jeff, here would be the example, right? Let's say we had enough revenue just to cover the cost of the program for one person, but there's no revenue yet. The first jobs we put them on is actually marketing out to realtors and agents, the delivery services, the marketing services, et cetera, right? So that becomes a job for them. Even though we're not bringing revenue in, it's creating revenue into the ecosystem, right? Now they start generating actual jobs, which now can either be built out by them or by other residents. Now we actually have money to go back, self-generated, to pay for more marketing. So you start adding, and now we've got 2 or 3 people working with the income coming in. The next new person that comes into the home might step into the job creation, into marketing and outreach, right? And they've got that role, and they're just creating that job. Now we get to a place where they're creating jobs for other homes, right? So now I've got somebody coming in, and we've got enough jobs running here in Vegas. I could have somebody in Vegas trying to create jobs for a home in Indianapolis, right? So it's this self-evolving ecosystem. So we're working through some of the scripts the trainings, which products would they market, the flows. We're building that all out over the next few weeks. We've already started on it this week, though. So more to come on that, but I just wanted to share, Jeff, how we see that happening, even in an existing home. Somebody has a home, and especially if a home's vacant. This is how I think of it, right? If we've got a vacant home, and Susanna, this could be something we even end up doing in Salt Lake. We're already making a monthly payment on that home anyway, right? In certain cases, we'll actually invest in the home if it's a small enough fee. So it's like, okay, so if I'm already paying X amount a month, why not have somebody come in and actually work, even if there's no revenue generated, because that work is actually generating the jobs that's going to turn the home into jobs for 4, 5, 6 more people. So we kind of pre-invest into somebody that we believe is going to be effective at the role. Anyway, so that's kind of a little heads up on how we're trying to scale that. So as we go into new markets, we've got a model, and it might be this. It might be, we'll figure out how long it takes. But imagine, Jeff, if we knew with $3,000, we could get a home up and running and cycling in 60 days, right? Whatever that number is. Like, I don't know what it is, but I'm making it up. Now, you know, even though it's a new area, we have a system and a process to get it self-running. And it's from, in my mind, that an investment like that kind of works like, go back to what I used as examples before. If you're going to buy a home to turn into residential assisted living, or if you're going to do a fix and flip property, right? When you do a residential assisted living, everyone's familiar with residential assisted living, right? You big house and you convert it into a home for elderly and give them care. Well, guess what? When you do that, you're going to have to spend some time. You got to buy, assuming it's not already been used for it, right? So let's say you bought a new house. You got to go in. You might have to put in sprinkler systems, depending on what area you're in. You might put in fire alarms and exit systems and widened doors. Put in spa baths and everything else. So you're going to make an investment into this property for X number of months, and then you're going to have to go through the licensing process. I'll get you in 1 second, Carol Sue. You have to go through the licensing process. That's going to take you at least 3 to 6 months. And I've seen people take a year. I've seen some people take 2 years to get theirs up and going. This is no different. If you want to get into Beyond Living, it's going to take an investment of X amount in 3 months before the property's up, running, and efficient. But once it's running, it's going to be way more lucrative than a straight rental. So that's just part of the investment process. So anyway, that's kind of the analogy to think of it as an investor. Same thing with a fix and flip. You're going to buy it. You're going to have to invest for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 4 months, 6 months, depends on the market, to renovate it and then sell it. It's an investment. So covering an empty mortgage payment for an investor should feel no different, even if somebody's staying in the home. Don't think of them as they're living in my house for free. Thinking of them, they're investing into my business, right? You let your contractors in the house for free all the time because they're investing in the property to make it worth more. When you have somebody stay in that home for the first 60 days or whatever long that takes, guess what? They're investing to turn that home into the effective business model. Yeah, Carol Sue, comment, question.
Question and comment. So do you need a license to be able to do this? A business license in town or anything like that?
Sorry, let me rephrase that. You do not, you need to have our nonprofit will actually get a business license with the city to be running the nonprofit, right? And that's usually free in most areas. It's not required there, but we don't need to be, when you first said that, we don't need to be state licensed or anything like that. We're not like a care home or residential assisted living where you're licensed in that regard. It's just a standard business to operate like your nonprofit would in any area.
Okay, and so then my other thought is that, if
you talking to me? Yeah, the house. I'm recording. Can I get back to you after we're done? Yeah.
It's unmuted. Hang on here.
comes to the assistant,
That's off for you. That is is Beyond Living runs them, and our owners are just passive investors.
Okay, so that makes sense. So now when it comes to the assisted living, I suggest the same thing, in that if you have a house and you get somebody who already has maybe several assisted livings, they already have the licensing, they will also go in and they will remodel your house at their expense so that they can have it up to code and do everything. And you get to charge more rent and triple net because it's a business and be on your merry way. So that's just a suggestion as far as they can both work the same way.
Yep. Other comments, questions? No worries, Sam. I saw it. Other thoughts, questions? Barb, yes.
Going along from what she said, and I believe I know the answer being twofold. If someone comes in and we're working with another nonprofit and they have a program acclimate, and I did talk to Alan about this a little bit, and I love his simple responses to keep me back on track. But so we're tying in their program with our program, or starting this cold turkey, so to speak. Let's get people in there, and we already have a workbook program already implemented to start using. So is it both twofold, correct?
Yeah. So let me address that. That's very powerful. Our goal is to work with existing sources that exist in any area as much as possible. We don't want to recreate the wheel where we don't need to, right? Hang on here. I think there's some people in the waiting room, maybe a while, or they all just came in now. So our whole goal is not to, if there's already a cooking class, let's work with them. If there's already a class on how to help them get their cell phones, or how to get their GED, or how to get these things, we want to work with those existing things in a given market. We want to fill the void, right? But there's a few areas, Barb, where we will maybe complement or add in addition to what they have. And here would be an example. For us, not just understanding that budgeting exists, we're going to make sure our requirement is people actually have a budget. They need to learn Google Sheets, and they need to actually have a budget and share their budget with us. I don't care if they want to learn other programs and use other things, but I want to have a consistent way that we could teach anybody how to do a budget. We can help them monitor and manage their budget. To me, that's one of the most important things to help people get financially back on track, even if they're not on the streets, just people in life, right? They need help. How do I get back on track? I've got myself upside down. Well, let's go through a budgeting exercise. It's one thing to go through a class, and it's another thing to implement the class, right? So that's a little bit where we're going to make sure that they're at least doing what I would call a minimum standard, right? Kind of like this. If you have a kid that goes to school, high school, you could either do the college or the high school's driver's ed program, or you could go to a private driver's ed training, right? Or a class and get trained outside of the school. But the reality is, at the end of the day, you have to meet the requirements of the state in order to pass the test. So for us, I'm saying, I don't care if you want to go do budgeting, as long as you meet the standards of what we're doing, then that's fine. But so that's one example. Another example where we may want to couple is going to be in the marketing training. If they want to get into marketing, they're learning computers, etc., that's fine. I love the fact if you want to learn and somebody's teaching you how to use Microsoft Excel, that's going to make teaching you Google Sheets even easier. But Google Sheets is our platform that we use across our different business models, whether you're in the call center space, whether you're doing direct mails, anything that we're doing, Google Sheets is a platform that we've kind of adopted as our standard. So that's kind of a part of this that we will add on and just make sure that it's meeting our minimums. But absolutely, Barb, we have no desire to actually be involved in teaching cooking at the moment. I want to have extra things available so they can learn how to cook and eat healthy, but it's not changing the outcome of how I can help them get into the career path, if that makes sense. So,
no, thank you. I appreciate the clarifying.
Yep.
I just had a joke. So if you don't want to teach cooking, you can come to my Sarah Sue's Kitchen, Conscious Cooking in Belize, where I take the foods that are boring and make them gourmet, and I cook with love.
I love that. I love that. You should put that on a course. They don't have to come to
I
believe.
have it. I do it. I do it on, well, I do it on Facebook Live almost every day.
You should package those up and create a contest if people rate them, and then you make money from all that work you're doing there on Facebook Live for free.
Okay. Thank you. I'll do that.
You're welcome. All right. Questions, comments, and then I've got one more topic for today, and then we'll wrap up with anything else you guys have. Let me see. Can you? Oh, that was for someone else. Speaking of associates to get part of our area, I guess schedule for half. Hang on one second. I'm trying to read these Zooms chats. In speaking with associates, part of our area Rotary, I was asked to send an email. To get on the schedule for the next half of the year. It's about a 20-minute presentation. Okay. I can get you guys some bullet things to speak on, Barb. It'll probably have to go in the next week or two as part of our overall marketing, but I kind of put some stuff together for Alan and we recorded it so I can pull out of that. I think those are some of the highlights. They're going to be slightly different topics, though, depending on the audience. If you're going to a RIA group, that's one thing. If you're going to a nonprofit organization, it's a little bit different of a focus, right? And then there's a more generic, if you're just speaking, you don't know who you're speaking to, right? So there's maybe you're speaking to businesses. That's another set. They all follow a key messaging framework. But the positioning, I'll give you an example. We've already written up the scripts for a couple of our video scribes that are going to come out, our explainer videos. The first one is for junk removal in a general sense, and it can be used for people who bought homes in real estate. But we have a specific one going after agents that may have a challenge where they have a client who's trying to sell. They've got a listing where they haven't gotten all their stuff out, or they've got a buyer that showed up and their stuff's still stuck in the home. Right. And so then the first half of that is tailored to the agent. The second half is almost the same model because it's the same service at the end of the day. So there's a lot of leverage that we can do.
Yeah, I would appreciate that because when I send the email, I have to be specific stating, here's our website, here are the key points. Like you have to announce that ahead of time, to get on the schedule and so forth, because there could be possibly 2 or 3 speakers that day.
Yeah. So what would be helpful too, if you want, when you get a chance, if you could send me an email and just this is true for anybody. If you want help with bullets to go speak somewhere, if you just want to give me an email and tell me who are you speaking and tell me about the audience, tell me who you're speaking to, how long do you have, who's your audience, and what's the main goal coming out of it that you see that you're trying to get. And I'll give you an example. Sometimes the main goal, and maybe you don't know. See, I don't know the main goal, but sometimes our goal is only to get somebody to a Q&A session. Sometimes it might be to actually get them to want to come up right after the end of this and talk with me about, partnering up. It could be you want to get people to invest or whatever it is. So if you guys are looking for help with that, shoot me an email and say help with speaking topics. Put that in the title. Help with speaking notes or speaking points. There you go, speaking points. I'm not going to write the whole script, but I'll give you the framework that I would use. And I've actually done this before. I've even done quick 5-7 minute intros for people. Brian knows this. I sent Danny, one of our companies one time, I got asked to speak at this RIA group out in LA, like the largest RIA group in LA, and I couldn't make it. I was tied up in Chicago. So Danny Mason, Brian, you remember Danny, right? You probably know this story. He's actually a commercial videographer. He's actually in our Mosaic. He's been part of our group for a long time. He filmed our video. We had a celebrity spokesperson, a hockey athlete that was well known. We had him, and he shot all the commercials for that. And he's actually shot at the Vegas Golden Knights. So I said, Danny, you willing to help? So Danny said, yeah, he'll go there. And so Danny didn't understand. He likes to call himself a hermit. He likes to be in the cave behind the scenes. Danny didn't realize he was going to be at the front of the room. So I'm in Chicago. He's in LA, and he texts me. He said, Keith, I'm here. Where are you? And I said, oh, I forgot to tell you. No, I'm not going there. You're gonna be up front. I'm gonna give you the bullet points to say. So Danny was awesome because he literally just took one for the team and he went up to the front and he just basically, gave a quick, 2-minute, 3-minute introduction about our organization. And it was very successful. He did an awesome job. And but he's a great guy, and I didn't mean to leave it out at the beginning. I think he would have gone either way, but I realized afterwards, I guess I wasn't very clear that he was speaking at the front of the RIA group, because I was saying I can't be there. You know, I have a hard time. I swear I said something like that. Can you help out? Are you able to go to this event? Maybe he thought he was going to shoot video. I don't remember how that all came down, but all I know is he showed up. He's like, I'm here. Where are you? I'm about 1,700 miles away. Let me get you prepared for what you're about to go do. So, but sometimes I'll actually record a quick video for you, or like Alan, we got on a Zoom call and I kind of walked him through and recorded it, some of the bullets, and he wrote those down, and clearly he crushed it. He had this other guy, Keith, that he never even met, referring a friend who's all excited to partner with him. So the key bullets and frameworks will absolutely work. Just go up with confidence. Share that group so I can connect with them. Oh, the RIA group. It is called Prosperity Partners, I think is what it's called. It's Steve Love runs that group. Sam, that was you asking about that group in LA. He actually ran the biggest RIA group, a second largest here in Vegas. I used to speak at his groups in Vegas too. So he has one here and then one in LA. He's in LA now. He hasn't, I don't know if he's been back here personally. I haven't seen him since COVID. Unfortunately, his wife got ill and he's been, focused very much in the LA area. But yeah, he still runs his groups on a regular. I get their emails all the time. So the RIA group. Steve Love. Tell him you know me. He knows exactly who I am for sure. He's part of some of our companies. Oh, Bree. Yeah, is that Bree? You got it, right? Yeah, hey, welcome. I think Michael, that's the one, Michael, that you referred over here. Said you got to join this group, right?
I did. In fact, I wanted to give 2 acknowledgments today. She's one of them. But I want to start by acknowledging someone who's already been in for a little bit and who is absolutely stepping up to the plate and swinging the bat as hard as he can. And that's Michael Jones in Sarasota. He's just been absolutely relentless. He's tracking down every lead, and he has been keeping me very, very busy on facilitation calls. And some of them work, some of them don't. We had one today that was scheduled, and Michael very nicely texted me 1 hour prior to the call, and instead of saying, hey, I verified the call, he said, the call's off. They accepted an offer, so no longer on the table. But I just wanted to say I think he's well on his way for being definitely in the running for Finder of the Year, the way he's going, because he just continues to, it's fun to talk to him online and offline. He kind of reminds me of Doug Svensson, because he and I would talk for hours offline.
Did we just lose Michael? Oh, yeah, we lost him.
You muted him on purpose, didn't you, Keith?
No. No, but while I'm waiting for him to get back on, I'll add this. Michael, you absolutely have stepped up, and that's why we're actually going to be piloting something as a bonus for you with your courses and portals. I haven't got a chance to tell you yet, but we're going to help you build some of those out. We're going to test something that we're going to have our Beyond Living residents do, and we're going to have that as an add-on for most people, but we're going to do a test because you've earned it. So appreciate it.
I'm enjoying the model. It's definitely challenging with all the moving parts and getting people to get on the calls, and we've lost a lot of people. We're calling people that are trying to sell their house sometimes. So, there's a lot of houses selling in Florida, so not as much stale as we'd like.
Hey, Michael, you're
back. Sorry. Good. Sorry about that. But yeah, so I saw Michael Jones there for a second. So hopefully he was receiving that.
I propped you up, Mike. Don't worry.
All right, good. Thanks. Yeah, all the check is in the mail. You'll get it here momentarily. So I know that some of you, and certainly Keith, all know about Michael. So, but what is opposite to that is Bree. None of you really know her. She's a friend of mine out in Los Angeles, and of course here we are on opposite coasts. But she's just about the hardest worker I've ever met. She juggles 8 different things. She has so many hands and so many fires, and she really, really wants to get herself into a position through real estate for passive income. I'd really like to see her be able to drop a lot of the active projects she has going on so she could focus. She's a great communicator, a really great energy. I got a chance to meet her mom, who's a very successful and longtime realtor living out in Hawaii. So mom gave me about an hour-long call of, let me make sure that this is something that worth having my daughter spend time on. And I guess I convinced her because Bree's with us, and I'm really looking forward to not only having her learn from you, Keith, but obviously some of the other amazing women we have in the business. You know, Josephine, the current title holder of Finder of the Year, and I am the first runner-up for that title. So, but I'd really love to welcome Bree to the group and encourage her to continue to come back to these calls so that I know we're talking a lot about Beyond Living, but I told her that this is where she can obviously get help learning how to kick ass and take names. So Bree, welcome to the group, and you're in good hands with these folks.
Thank you guys, and thanks for the welcome. I appreciate that. I'm excited to learn how to do all of this, and it is new, so I definitely need help. And I, as a finder, I remember I was having some challenges and asking Mike about like how I can be like more vague without like giving too much information, because I was trying to learn so much, and I was like, oh, why can't I just tell them about the Beyond Living program? And so, yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to like keep my mouth shut, but like just direct it to him or whoever.
That is the best approach. If you walk away with that, Bree, you're going to be so successful. The biggest thing the biggest mistake that many people can make, especially when they first get started, is saying too much because they understand there's more. But here's how I like to think of it. When you first jump in, this is like a plane. All right. Even though the cockpit door is open and you might see some of the things, and Michael might point out that this is how you go up and down and this and that, and hit buttons, do these things. Don't try to jump in and fly the plane. Let the pilots do that. Sit in the, in the seat, maybe sit in the first row so you can watch the pilots, but let them do the job. And so sometimes we open up and we get our, it's easy for people to get themselves in a place where they kill off a deal before they even had a chance because they've said too much. I typically don't even like owners to know anything about option contracts or short-term rental or what we're going to do, what we're going to make. It's just this. It's the simple phrase. And by the way, you should get some emails that are assignment 1, 2, 3, 4. Those first 4 assignments will give you all that you need to know to have success. That's it. And it's basically, I can help you earn more, make more money with less effort. Is that something you'd be interested in? That's it. That's all you say. Oh, how does that work? Well, let me put, and I love this. Oh, I got to share this. Alan shared some of the language that he used this week, and I thought it was phenomenal. You ready? Here's what he's saying. Let me put you on, well, let's do this. Let me get you a call with someone on my leadership team. All right. And then we'll explain the program, show you some numbers, and if it makes sense, great. Like, I love that term, Alan, not even facilitators or partner. I just use the term partner, and you can use the term partner too. Let me get you on the phone with my partner, and they can explain it to you, right? Don't say facilitator or anything like that. Say partner. That's the language that I typically been using, but I loved his use of the word leadership team. Let me get you on the phone with someone from my leadership team. Now they feel like they're now elevated in importance too, right? I'm getting someone on the leadership team to help me. And they'll take it from there. And Alan is lined up in the past like 2-3 weeks, like 4 or 5 contracts, right? Still have to sign them all, but he's got people. One of them is finding another home because his home, he already rented it out. But we've got contracts signed and people in the wait list with him to get on calls with him. You heard it. They're calling him up saying, hey, how do I work with you? How do I get this going? That's where you want to be. And it all just started by him keeping the conversation simple. And I'll be honest. Anybody who's in real estate already and has a history of real estate, this is going to be one of your biggest challenges. Besides just breaking away from the old mindset of just getting hung up in the minutia of buying and selling real estate, shifting and trying not to step into something because you're so used to being experienced with clients and being able to answer the questions. You have a natural tendency to want to answer questions, right? Because that's what I do. This is one of those moments where you step back and say, you know what? Let me just get you on the phone with someone on my leadership team, and we'll go ahead and get your questions answered and show you the numbers. So,
okay.
So
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
yeah, you bet. I do want to shift topics just slightly, going back to Michael, something that you shared this weekend. Michael's been doing, Michael Jones, this is, sent a couple things. At first, I thought he wrote up this ad. I'm like, Michael, that ad was really good. He sent me this whole write up, and I was like, I want to twist it a little bit because it's not exactly our model, but I was completely impressed, Mike. I'm like, man, you did a great job. Maybe it's that chat, GPT you're using. I don't know, but this is a great ad. But he sent me 2 models, but they're all over the internet. I'm not on Facebook. You guys know that. I spend very little time on Facebook, so I don't see everything. But now I start seeing them, of course, because once you go in and look at one thing in that space, everything pops up. So I will go on just to find all the competitors. But Michael sent me 2 things, and they were around short-term rental. And they were around these companies that are marketing short-term rental management, if you will, in some degree or fashion. One was a program that required a $20,000 entry. And that's why I got confused, Michael. I thought you wrote this up because I thought that was the furniture package you're talking about. So it was actually $19,995.
I think they stole your model, Keith.
Well, they didn't exactly, but they had the price point of 20,000 was very interesting.
Yeah, it caught my eye too. I was like, did Keith write this?
He did. So he sent me this whole text write up, and I thought he was preparing an ad because I've been talking about we're going to go after short-term rental hosts, right? We're going to go partner with them. So the first one was not really to me as much a management, but more of getting people into wanting to invest into short-term rental. So it was like they offered it was 19,000, I think it was $995, which is actually the exact price of our leasing package. That's why I thought you wrote this up. And it was around, hey, we'll get you into short-term rental. And then it had this guaranteed profits in 90 days or your money back or some crazy number that they had, or profitable in 90 days. All right. Which is very easy to kind of do in a way. But anyway, it required people to put in 20,000. I'm like, well, that's an interesting. I actually have a whole nother model, Michael, around that I never even shared with you. So I'm like, how did he even know about that model? Did I share that on a call one time by accident? But I'm less interested in that one, Michael, because what we're going to go after is this other model. And I want to share this with the group that Michael found. And there's probably lots doing this. And Aldo, I don't know if you've seen these out there too, but this one really caught my eye. I'm going to share my screen. It was called Buy More Time. And their concept is great, actually. Hey, Aldo, have you heard of this one? Buy More Time?
No, I've never heard of them, but I did get contacted I got messaged by someone trying to do management for me on one of my listings for Airbnbs, and that was interesting. And I've been slowly seeing a little bit more.
I plan on calling all
advertising
these companies
like
and
that.
finding out what they do.
Yeah, and what I loved about this to me, let's go back to this model. You guys remember Beyond Living for a moment. You've got to stand out and be different. That's how you attract people to you. I still would lead with that model, but we are going to have a specific niche around managing short-term rentals. And Bree, I know you're newer, and many of you haven't been on the call. Susan, you're newer. Denise, not as newer, but you guys in the last couple months, Thomas. But we've got a model where we're going to go after short-term rental management, and our models, we've had it. We've been doing it. It's based on profits only. If we don't make profit, we don't get paid.
Yes.
This is the closest competitor in this space that I found out there, Michael. So thank you for.
This one reminded me when you started, undercutting the market, giving them a flat rate.
Absolutely. This is why it caught my eye, Michael. For those that don't know, I built a real estate marketing company that became #1 in 18 months in Chicagoland. And I did that by charging only $2,000 to sell a home instead of 5 or 6%, right? It's $2,000. That's it. And that took off like a wildfire. Why? Because I offered the same service for less money, right? This particular company here is charging a flat rate of $349 a month for hands-free, 5-star. They basically co-host with you. I was actually tempted in some ways to throw one of my properties over to it just to see how well they do or don't do. But the downside is they want to use their own software. It's still your listing, which is good. So they keep on your host. But the risk is if they do a crappy job, I'm worried about how it impacts your overall listing. But nonetheless, here's the thing. Let me show you guys how we outpace them, if you will. How do we leapfrog what they're doing, or how is what we're doing leapfrogging them? But they have a good amount of services. I went and I looked at what they're doing. They're claiming a 3-minute response time. Now, I don't know what that means. I can set up an automated response on every inquiry, so I always respond in less than 3 minutes, right? That's not hard to do. Are they actually responding and solving problems? Or, what does that mean? 24/7, that's good. They're super hosts, blah, blah, blah. They schedule all cleanings. We schedule maintenance. But here's the thing that is not clear on this checklist. I want to go to this. We schedule all cleanings. Okay, Michael, Gainesville, guess what? Tenants this weekend broke the window. Blood everywhere, right? All right. So are they filing the Airbnb claim, for the thing? Are they reaching out to the guests saying you owe us money, or are they simply scheduling the cleaning and leave it to cleaning team to deal with the problem?
It says they file damage claims right below there.
Was it? But does it say they file? Oh yeah, we file. Oh, there it is. There's the answer. So what if things they schedule maintenance requests? Do they manage getting somebody out there that meet the maintenance people? A lot of times, if you have a home warranty, a lot of companies won't come out unless somebody 18 and older will actually be there. So do they help manage that? So there's more to it. And I'm not saying it's bad. There's extra questions to understand. But nonetheless, here's the difference. $349. That's actually a great price, in my opinion. If they did everything that we know that we have to do to manage a property, and they do it as successfully to get the 5-star reviews, you guys saw it. Guys, this is pretty cool. Hey, Joe, Tony, are they on still? I saw them on earlier. I think they're gone now. Mark, we had this property. Some of you guys remember this. We had guests stay in a property, and there was ants everywhere inside their kid's baby bottle. Inside their baby bottle. I've got a photo of it. We ended up with a 5-star review after the way we managed that situation. And this is so cool. They reached out to us, and they just booked it with us directly for a direct booking. So they're coming back again, and we're avoiding all the Airbnb fees. Like, that takes good customer management to take somebody who has ants all over the house, inside their clothes. It was in their kid's baby bottle, and we managed it. Yeah. I got photos, and how cool that they came back.
How can they do this for $349? We're making thousands.
I don't know, but here's the thing. There's a piece to this, Michael. Is this? I've learned this now. We're managing over 20 properties internally just to see how it works, and there's economies of scale. You get some properties that nothing ever happens. It's the simplest thing to manage. Things go smooth. You don't hear much. Guests come in, they check out. You can automate messages. There's still work. I don't know they do the level of reach out during a stay that we do, but they come, they go, everything works smooth, right? And then you get those that show up, can't get in. We had somebody the other day, booked the same day. They show up and they're like, how do I get in? It's in your email. Like, oh, well, I found it now after digging through 10 emails. They get 3. They get a welcome for booking. They get a reminder that tomorrow's your stay, and then there's a day of check-in. So they made a big ordeal about all the emails they're getting, and then the check-in with all their infos in the 3rd email. And so, you get those guests that just are interesting. I'll just leave it at that, okay? So, Michael, my guess is on a scale. I'd have to run it. It may or may not be feasible. Right? You might have to suffer quality, and it just may not go in depth on all the ones that are more complicated.
Are these people that are already short-term renting their places or thinking about it?
Well, here's the deal. You have to find your own cleaners. It's in their description. I went into the FAQs. You have to find your own cleaners here. You have to find your own maintenance men, and you can hand them into there. So you have to furnish it yourself. So they're not actually setting it up, Michael. So this comes into alignment with our model that I was just talking to Mike Flint about.
Some direction about some of the 55 plus communities that you were talking about.
All right. Sorry. So in this case, Michael Jones, I was just talking to Michael Flint the other day about, I want to go after and take on a bunch of these properties on a management, but our model is
I'm recording.
349, Michael, in some ways, depending how you look at it. Ours is based on profits only. We will make more than 349 because watch. Bryant and Mark know this. Watch how I box out the competition. Okay, this is how I use their flat fee 349 against them. You want to hear it? Does anyone want to hear how we use it in our sales pitch?
Bring it on.
All right, here's our sales pitch. It's real simple. It's possible your home may not book at all because there's a winter storm and people aren't coming, or that the weather changes or whatever, and you're still going to pay $349, which means you actually lose money. I'm making money when you're not making anything. First of all, that's a downside, right? In our profit model, if you don't make money, we don't make money. We don't make money until you've been paid, all the utilities are paid, then we start making money on our side. That's one benefit. Now, I will tell you, the difference from the 349 is, yes, they give you a flat rate of 349. And if when we crush it and we get $9,000-$10,000 a month for your home, we're going to get paid more. And you want that from me. You know why? They have no motivation to get your house booked as much as possible. At 349, there's no incentive. They don't care whether you book for 10 nights, 20 nights, or 30 nights. They're going to get paid their 349 regardless. I'm motivated on profit.
Or one night.
Yeah, one night, exactly.
Or one night.
Right.
They get paid the same no matter what. So why do the heavy lifting if it doesn't increase your...
Yep, I think he's going through a tunnel. We just lost you, but he's got it, right? Here's my model. My goal is to optimize revenue, minimize costs. Optimize revenue, minimize costs. So even if they're getting you 30 nights, are they optimizing expenses? Are they making sure that they're not putting in things into the home and spending money where we shouldn't? It doesn't matter to them. There's nothing on the bottom line. That's the difference in our what we call our profit performance model. Everybody, you can write that down. That is our term or what we call our model. So when we do marketing like this, Michael, all over Facebook, it's going to say, check out the new and unique profit performance model for running short-term rental. The only model, we're not going to say we're the only ones that do it, but the only model where you don't pay anything until you're profitable. You guys see the difference there? Why would you not want to partner with somebody who's motivated on profits? I truly want to partner with you. So that's how we win against these guys.
I had someone I spoke to the other day that was using Vizcaya, just started using. She's so upset. Worst experience she's ever had. Yeah. That was the one that I was hoping to talk to today, but. Yeah.
So Michael, Mark asked earlier about our revocable option contracts. That's one of our contracts, but we have a different model contract called the Profit Performance Partnership Lease, which is mostly what we do in our Beyond Living homes now as well. It works almost the same exact way. And it's the same contract, very simple. And we are basically stating that, by the way, I've had to fire cleaners. I've had to fire cleaners because they suck. Excuse my language, but they suck. I've had to. We go through it all the time, right? And that's what we do, and we don't leave that to the owner to have to do that. We're the ones determining when is somebody charging too much, when is somebody not doing a good enough job, when is somebody that's just, hey, Michael, this is the cleaner you gave us, so cleaning sucked. That's your fault, right? That's your problem, Michael. That's who you gave to us to manage for you.
Yeah, Vizcaya somehow told her she only paid for 2 sets of linen. She had to go in there and put more sheets on the beds. That was weird.
Yeah. Well, and it's Picasso, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. But yes, so
what did you say? Profit performance? What?
Yeah, profit performance model. It's called the profit performance model. That's our model. We're based on profit performance. That's how we get compensated.
Does this work in conjunction with that offer that if they want to sell their house, they can sell their house? In the meantime, while we're trying to put this whole thing together?
Yeah, it can. I mean, it can, but that revocable option contract is that we do. So Beyond Living is also an execution of the profit performance model as well. It's just a different business that we put inside. That's a better one that coincides with the revocable option contract that you're referring to, Michael. Because in that model, we actually find the people. The short-term rental would be more of, I don't know. It's rare I would actually do them together. I mean, it'd have to be the right property, right situation, because we're doing this to minimize our risk, but also give the best rewards for the owners. So we minimize our risk as a result of not making as much in potentially. If it's slow, we don't make anything, right? But the thing that I've learned, Michael, is in the economies of scale, I can make 0 on a property and still be profitable as a whole. Because I'll make it on another property. Do you know what I'm saying? You're going to have some that are going to take more and then others that are going to take less. So that's okay. But not at $349. I need some of them to make $400, $500, $600, $700 a month, right? I need some of them to crush it because some of them might only make $50. Yeah. But that's a win for the owner, right? In my opinion, that's a complete win. So that's part of our 3-week marketing stint that we're trying to put stuff together. We're going to put together a marketing campaign almost just like this, Michael, but in a video scribe that's going to basically show them why our model is better than any other model out there. And that the Mike Flint, that's what we talked about the other day. I want to onboard people into that, PPM, profit performance model all day long, right? Clearly there's a market because this company's investing in ads on Facebook to get at people for $349. And they're doing that
Right.
because you know it, Michael. You just spoke to someone with Vacasa, and people are having a terrible experience with Vacasa and Evolve and other short-term rental managers. But my point for all this, and although this is good for you to know, the competition's coming in, right? People are going to come in, and this is what you do. You undercut price. You figure out how do you undercut price. But we're not undercutting price at the end of the day. Because if we're really successful and running profitably, guess what? We could be making more than them. But it's worth it to the owner because we're managing the downside better, right? You get somebody that's had a bad experience with Vacasa and they're losing money. What's going on in their head is, I want to manage these slow months. And Michael Flint, to your point, if we can really run it better than Vacasa, guess what? They're going to love us, right? Because they went from losing money to now making money. And they don't care that they're paying us more because their comparison is I was losing my shirt with Vacasa or Evolve.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what.
I have a question on that. Excuse me. A question. So are you saying yours is a percentage so that they pay nothing if you're making nothing, and then it's a percentage as the profits go up?
Yes, that's right.
And now is Beyond Living model, is that considered short-term rental?
No, it's not.
So now I see the advantage of those. If they lose the short-term rental lawsuit, which I think will be temporary, because I don't know if you got my email, what I sent to you about that, because how I said last time, something good's going to come out of it. Well, I felt that one of the reasons, Airbnb and the other one that starts with a V, that by them not going in ahead of time, they saved all that money that just would have eaten it up, because now they can come in with a boom and they've reserved that money, and now they have more support, maybe all over the country. And so now they can really do a powerful lawsuit. But that's just,
I don't think they're going to do it. They would have stepped in now because they had the partnership with us. They've already let other cities run this route. They let this happen in Atlanta, Carol. So they didn't do anything in Atlanta. They let Atlanta shut it down. They let Daytona shut it down. They let LA restrict it.
Now maybe they'll go in with some big guns. That's just one thought. But the other thought is, look at all, I assume that this is what you're looking at, is that all those properties now become perfect for Beyond Living.
That's exactly right. That's what we've been telling the folks here, and that's exactly right. If you get in a market where they shut down short-term rental, that's where Beyond Living comes in as an alternative model to be able to help them. And it's great because they were losing money anyway. They have nothing to lose now. If you want to go 30, remember Jeff had to jump off, I think, but remember I was talking to Jeff about, we might have to go 60 days with no revenue, but we're going to put somebody in the home that's going to start marketing to create jobs for that home. Guess what? You were going to be out the revenue anyway. You're sitting on an empty house. You can't run short-term rental. It's not going to sell. The market's saturated with properties. So this is a great place. So anyway, Michael.
My last question is, are you done with that screen share?
Oh, is it still on? I am done. Yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
Thanks for reminding me of that. Yeah, Michael, sorry, you got cut off there. Go ahead.
I can't remember what I was saying.
No, if you remember, jump back in.
All right.
So that's where we're going, guys. In the short-term rental space, I wanted to, this was timely because I've been talking about this model, this profit performance model, what we're going to do in short-term rental. And this is one of those things where we want to have a model that's different, that's unique, that's better than anybody else can offer. We've got systems in place to make that happen. We've got a team up here. We've got experience. We've got properties coast to coast. We can go into any market. We've proven we could do that. Mike, I'll see you by your phone. Do you think of it now?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just pacing.
Okay, gotcha.
But I did want to say something about setup. I had an email or a video call with
someone from Bonobo Stays or Beyond. I can't remember the exact. I've got it, but they charge for setup, but they'll buy the furniture for you, and they got 3 tiers. They've got basic tier if you're charging less than $100 a night for your short-term rental. They've got mid-range stays for like 100 to 400, and then anything where you're charging above $400 is luxury, and they come in with luxury setup, and they've got tiered pricing. So initially I thought, well, do I give them the reins on this because they can do it very fast? They've got designers, and then I got completely sold when they said not only will they finance their fee, but they'll finance the furniture for you.
Wow.
So I thought, this is turnkey. Find a place, call them up, furnish it, design it, set it up, take the pictures professionally, and now all of the cost of that gets pushed to the business instead of an upfront fee. So I was really, really impressed. And they've got 12,000 properties. They also do management. I didn't explore their management, but they got 12,000 properties in their portfolio at the moment.
And so what was the name of the company?
I know. Remember when I just said that I didn't know it, and I get to get it for you? So
I love that. That could be huge. I love that. I love and I think that's smart with their ranges. It's interesting I was laughing at first on the under $100 range. I don't know that I want to be in the under 100, but I know there's a market for it, right? Like, man, talk about the tiny homes, right? $69 a night. That's like competing against the Motel 6.
Yeah. There's a lot of people charging that.
I know.
A lot.
And it's going to actually get greater now with more and more pressure as individuals drop their prices to try to get we've seen it already happening in certain markets. And, we saw this, remember when we were first looking at Frontier, I pulled out those condos that were right by the casino. They were at like 99 and 100% occupancy, right? And they were charging like super cheap. That was their model, right? That little loft area studio with a well done remodel, but they're charging like $99 a night, and they're ranked out like nonstop, right? So they're making $3,000 a month. I don't know what their holding cost is. I feel like they're missing big opportunities to make more, but they've got a model that appears to be working. They're still doing it.
Yeah.
So, cool. All right, we're past the top of the hour. Any other questions you guys have for me? Anything that I can answer for you before we go? For our new folks, welcome to your first CalDRE. We look forward to seeing you some more. And these sessions are designed to help people. So if you have things that you get stuck on 3 times a week, you can just jump on here. It could be anything. And we're going to the tail end of the calls, we're going to start using for people that are newer. If you need help with things, you can't figure out how to enter into the system, or you're caught and you weren't able to figure it out through the support team help, we'll go over it at the end. So that way we don't hold everybody up.
That's great. Thank you.
Yep. All right, last chance for questions. If not, great. Is it? No, it's Monday. I was going to say have a great weekend. It's not even close to Monday. I was working all weekend. So to me, I thought, man, it's Friday. No, we've been working on this market and stuff nonstop. So I'm excited to share with you in the next week, and you'll see it if it comes out as it comes out, some of the new things we're putting in place. But we are going to get some marketing for that PPM model, that profit performance model to go after short-term rentals. So Michael Jones, that stuff you shared with me was right on, because we're working on that in the background. I'm like, wow, he's got a head started already. But our model is going to be slightly better. It's going to be better enough that it's going to allow people to attract them to us. That's the goal. Cool.
Just hope it doesn't confuse people, like, getting inundated on social media with all that.
Well, that's going to happen regardless, Michael. That's always the challenge, right? People are overwhelmed, etc. We're going to try to put the model out there in a video scribe so it's very quick. People could see visually and verbally. That's what I love about video scribes. People can see it, and it's very quick, like usually like 60 to 90 seconds, something like that usually is enough time, and more than enough to capture their attention. And they just need to open up with why this is different than every other short-term rental model. Hopefully that piques their interest. And if they've got a real problem, Michael, they'll spend the 60 seconds to watch.
Yeah, so what I saw on social media was a woman that came on, you're very bubbly, and she threw a bunch of stuff out, and, it was about this. And if you're interested, click on the link below. And then all of a sudden you got into the whole schedule a call with us kind of thing. It was very quick.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's how it almost has to be on there. But we're going to not just focus on social media and Facebook, Michael. A lot of our piece is going to be reaching out to people, and then we send them to a page which has this to give them the reminder why they want to do it. Or you send them an email with a link to the video scribe. So, yeah, let me send an email. Or actually, not an email. You're going to quick share them to the landing page, and they're going to go just say, okay, let me understand more, and then it'll break it down. We just need to capture enough so that they know that it's different.
Okay. Hey, I dug up, it's Bongo Stays, if you want to, bongostays.com.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
And if you want to pull that up and screen share it or just take a look at it, we can talk about it on the next call. It's a whole nother thing, but I was very, very impressed. I don't discourage you from doing your own due diligence, but I'll tell you what, I don't see a downside. The only downside is if you want to do luxury, which I often do, as you know. The luxury package is $6,000 or something to set up, not including. Oh, you've got it right there, I think. Mm-hmm. Or premium setup, $2,500. Where did I come up with $6,000? I just made that up. But yeah, $2,500, not including the cost of furniture. But like I said, after talking to him, they'll finance the furniture.
Oh, there it is.
It's right there, Michael.
Oh, there it is. Luxury.
500. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. I know. So I'm not crazy. Well, I am crazy, but not on this.
But not on this one. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's. I'll tell you what. I was really, and you can see the difference in the pictures.
Yeah.
You go all the way down to the standard setup. That's like, I think it says in their description there, I think, for properties that charge less than $100 a night, but that still looks pretty decent, you know. And again, if you want to stay somewhere for $69, sign me up.
Right.
And you know, and oh, there it is. Target ADR lower than 120 a night. Mm-hmm. So, and then the mid range was, probably says it in there as well somewhere.
It's like 150, and then the luxury was over 500.
Yeah, and the luxury I'm really impressed with. Right, so I'll tell you what, that if all it did was shorten the spool up time by 7 days, because when I do luxury properties, heck, I'm still doing that $5 million property out here with Cynthia, the one with the pool and the tennis court that I love so much, and we're still working on that thing. And this is now a month and a half later, right? And I mean, there's contracts involved, but the point is, even if on that property we expect $40,000 to $50,000 a month, so you scrape a week off of that timeline, and it's a $10,000 difference. Yeah. So all of a sudden, that $6,500 paid for itself. And then talk about bandwidth. I now use that extra week to not set up a property. I go looking for the next one. So yeah, I'm really very impressed. Like I said, they do more than they do management. So kind of back to your point on the the $349 people, I'd be willing to take one of my properties and toss it out there. You know, I know the only verbalized concern that you have is what if they screw up your listing? Why don't you just pull it off? Like shut down your Airbnb listing and start another one. You can do that with the same address. Yeah. And then, you know, because you're literally transferring management companies. So just start, you know, the property can be the same. Right. In fact, I've met people at the Vacation Rental World Summit who have multiple Airbnb accounts for the same property.
Yeah, that's technically illegal on Airbnb side unless they're subsetted, you know, but it's still, I see it all the time.
Yep. Well, they do it because they offer individualized by the room, and then you can, each one of them has, like, so to be 123 Maple Lane A, 123 Maple Lane B, and so you can do that. And then in every instance, you can get the room or you can get the entire property. So how they experiment now is they change photos and they change write-ups and they change marketing strategies. And then it's basically their ABC strategy on how do they maximize pricing. And then if Airbnb starts to, you know, if they do have a guest that screws them, which happens every so often, then they just drop that. So if number C got a really bad review, they just dump it and they start D, E, F.
Right. Yep. Smart.
So
Creative. That's why
Yeah.
it's subset, you can do it, right? You just have to have some type of sub basis for your subsetting. And so there you have it, right? Just have some dependable cause. That's
And
good.
the guy that taught us that, he has 740 properties, which he drove in a 3-year period. He went from 0 to 7 properties in 3 years.
700, right? 740.
Yeah, seven something. I can't remember. I know it was greater than 700 properties, and he did that in 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean, the Europeans are just on fire. They have no concept of like what small is. There's another guy that has several thousand properties he did in 5 years, and he was one of the keynotes. Obviously, we want to hear from him. So I recommend in November, the Vacation Rental World Summit. We should all go. It's in Barcelona. There's no COVID. Everybody that knows how to speak Spanish should come. Great city, wonderful food. I've already got my tickets. Who's coming with me?
You flying?
I am flying. It was faster than swimming.
Let's go, and we can hook
Can
up
you
with
pick me up in
Rafi and
Belize?
Nadal.
Michael,
We'll fill your plane.
can you pick me up in Belize?
There's no financial reason why we can't make that happen.
Okay.
All right.
You send the money, I'll bring the plane.
Very cool. All right, guys, I've got to run. I've got an appointment to get to. If you guys need anything, feel free to email me. Thank you, Michael, for bringing up this thing. I definitely want to look into that too and understand what they want. That's awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone.
Cool. Thank you. See you. Bye-bye. Good call.
Hey, keep you send you
Bye,
something.
everybody. Thank you.
What's that, Thomas?
Recording stopped.
Thomas, did you try to catch me?
Yeah, I'm going to send you something in an email.
Okay, cool. I'll keep an eye out for it. Thanks. Take care, y'all.
Let's do that. There we go. Hey, thank you so much for watching. We were talking about Beyond Living as well as Next Gen REI. If you have any questions, please reach out to me, 661-621-5340, 661-418-7325. Also use my my Google Voice, 661-418-REAL. And look forward to talking to you and seeing you at my next on my next video. Appreciate you for watching and take care. Make it a great week.